Now, meantime, maybe not for Facebook. Shares in Facebook were dragged lower by further concerns over privacy. Now, the social network says it gave information to 4 Chinese phone makers, including Huawei. The U.S. government has warned the company poses a threat to national security. Our Dylan Byers is following this story. You know, Dylan, you've been following this pretty well. It has been interesting to hear from you that Facebook really blew it, that they had to really tell the whole story, and they didn't. This just dribbled out all week.
No, and look, there's a maxim in crisis management which says, tell the truth, tell it all, tell it early, and tell it yourself. What's happened instead is that Facebook only ever comes forward to acknowledge problems or address problems once those problems have been reported in the media. Now, things obviously hit ahead with data privacy around the Cambridge Analytica scandal, that it got to the point that it felt like Facebook really was coming clean. They were saying, look, we've put a stop to the data sharing practices that we had with third parties. We're not doing that anymore. We shut that down years ago. We're moving on to a new era. Then, lo and behold, the New York Times reports earlier this week that Facebook has data sharing with device makers ranging from Apple to BlackBerry to Amazon. And now we know that some of those device makers are also in China, including Huawei, which, as you said, has been identified as a security threat by U.S. Officials. So, look, Facebook, you know, they will say in their defense, look, this was an industry standard, that there's nothing to see here. At the end of the day, if they wanted to tell this story, they should have told this story first. And the fact that they're not is inviting further scrutiny from lawmakers and from the public.
And that's the key point. It's two things. The stock is down, but there's still really no evidence to see if people are using Facebook less or if they have fewer users. Putting that to one side, how afraid should Facebook now be of regulation? I mean, we had a few senators, including Marco Rubio, saying, China? Really?
Well, look, there are a few things here on Facebook's side, both in terms of regulation and in terms of users. In terms of regulation, just to be blunt, Congress is pretty inept at getting regulation through. I mean, they're just not organized to do it. It's not a top priority for them. They certainly love sort of, you know, attacking Facebook on Twitter on a case-by-case basis, but actually mobilizing Congress to get serious about curbing Facebook's ability to share user data is really not something that even the senators I talk to think is going to happen in the near future. And then in terms of users, look, in the wake of the Cambridge Analytica scandal, Facebook reported an additional 70 million users around the world and is now well north of 2 billion users globally. You know, I think what the last 6 months of this sort of trust crisis, data privacy scandal has taught us is that really Facebook users are willing to overlook those things. So the upshot of this, hopefully, is that Facebook and other tech companies get better, get more responsible, get more transparent. But is this ultimately going to hurt Facebook in the long run? I truly don't think so.
Yeah, interesting conversation there, Dylan, especially in light of the fact that Microsoft offering this advice this week. They had already been through all this, the antitrust and the problems with Congress. Such a good point, though. Effectively, what can they really do? Dylan, we'll continue to follow this story because I'm sure there will be more. Appreciate it.